Yo, what's up, YouTube? This is your boy Alex, and today is Tuesday. I'm at the park, and I'm launching my first episode of Alex Rockstar Clothes. That's where I'm going to talk about clothes and fashion, basketball shoes, boots, leather jackets, jean jackets, stuff like that. It's a fresh new concept, it's a new take, a new direction. I can't put everything on my content because if I did, then people get confused. Then people don't know which content's for which. We already have like 4 sports channels. 2 are old and retired, and then 2 new sports channels. And then I have 4 old channels that are retired and 2 new ones that are going to continue talking about television and film, sex and dating and life situations. And this one is going to be called Alexander Rockstar Clothes. My name's Alexander because a lot of people like to know what my name is. And then we're going to have Rockstar to let you know it's like a new name, but it's going to be talking about clothes. Now, today's first episode is called The Introduction. Now, most introductions are very boring. It's like when you were in high school and college, you used to just fall asleep in class in high school and college, and sometimes the teacher would look at you with this mad look on their face like, what are you doing? Like, pay attention. Well, this video is going to be like, it's not going to be giving you the feeling that you're back in high school and college, but it is going to be by far one of those motivational / information type of videos. The first episode's always the boring in a 3 to 4 part series. This one's going to be called Self-Improvement versus Keeping Up with the Joneses and Clothes. Now, you might say, why such a long title? Because I feel like there are some people that when they graduate from high school and college, a lot of times in life, they don't understand that there is a difference between self-improvement and keeping up with the Joneses. Self-improvement is what it is, self-improvement. In life, you're supposed to figure out how you go from living in your mom's house or dad's house to getting your own house and your own car. That's self-improvement. You're supposed to figure out how to get from the bus and the train to getting a car or a truck. That's self-improvement. If you have a job and you're not getting paid a lot of money, you're supposed to get a better job. That's self-improvement. You going to the doctor, you going to the dentist, that's self-improvement. You going to the gym to tone up or tone down, burn fat, build muscle, that's self-improvement. Keeping up with the Joneses is like a nice way of you trying to become something that you're not. You hear this all the time in movies and television shows. You're trying to become something that you're not. Like if you were not meant to be a basketball or a football or a baseball player, you shouldn't be trying to become a basketball or a football or a baseball player. That's when you hear people hit you with that old saying, just be yourself. Sometimes it's better to just be yourself. I mean, yes, it associates with being rich and famous, but if the powers that be wanted you to be rich and famous, a lot of us would be rich and famous a long time ago. I'm just trying to give you the facts of life. Now, we're going to talk about clothes. Like, when I say clothes, we're going to be talking about fashion clothes, designer clothes that we see people wear and that we buy 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. And that is this. Number one, there are people who go to H&M, The Gap, Men 21, Rude 21, Target, and then of course there's True Religions. Now you've heard the name True Religions, right? Well, a lot of people buy those designer clothes. And here's how it starts. When I was in high school and college, a lot of people would pick on me and make fun of me because I didn't have no new clothes and no new shoes. Now, back in the late 50s, early 60s, maybe even 1970s, they called them hand-me-downs. Now, hand-me-downs is where your big brother or your uncle wears clothes that are about 5 to 10 years old, and they give them to their little brother or their little cousin or their little nephew. And 5 or 10 years later, or even 12 or 13 years later, they give you the clothes. And when they give you the clothes, you're wearing their clothes. And that's how the nickname comes, hand-me-downs. you would get laughed and made fun of because the clothes were either too small, too big, too tight. The clothes were faded. Every time you wore the clothes, they could tell that they're 5 to 10 years old. They're outdated. And to you, they're just clothes. But to other people, it's 5 to 10, maybe 11 or 12 years old, outdated. And then you would have that happen to you in high school and college. Even when you get your first job, there'd be people paying attention to the way you look. The way you look and your physical appearance, 99.999%, is very, very important. When you go to the doctor or the dentist, you're supposed to dress appropriate. When you go on a job interview, you're supposed to dress appropriate. When you take a woman out to lunch and dinner, you have to dress appropriate. You don't wear your fitness clothes to taking a woman out to lunch and dinner. Yes, it's hot, and I'm filming on location. You don't take a woman out to lunch and dinner wearing your basketball clothes or your gym clothes, because the woman be looking at you like, okay, you taking me out to lunch and dinner, why you wearing that? Then you put inside that person's mind, you don't have no clothes, you don't have no shoes, you don't have no money, you don't have no job, you don't have nothing when you do that. Like, I'm going to give you another prime example of hand-me-downs. Whenever someone says you wear the same stuff every single day, they're alluding to there's a problem. That the problem is you're wearing the same thing over and over and over. Every time I see you come to 24-Hour Fitness, LA Fitness, Planet Fitness, or Gold's Gym, I see you wear the same clothes and the same shoes. They ain't got to walk up on you and ask you, do you have a job? Do you have money? You'll hear them say verbal insults, homonym attacks like, have you ever heard of Target? Have you heard of H&M? Have you heard of The Gap? Have you heard of Old Navy, J.C. Penney's? They'll say stuff like that because they want to bring to your attention, do you understand that when you wear the same clothes and the same shoes 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, that's not normal. Now, you tell them I don't have no job, they're going to know that you don't have no job because it's painfully obvious that when you wear the same shirt, the same pants, and the same shoes every single time they see you at the basketball park or they see you at work or at the gym, they know you don't have no new clothes and no new shoes. But they want to see if you understand that. Do you know that? And this is where self-improvement comes in. Self-improvement is to transform you from the worst version of yourself to the best version of yourself. It's not so you can become rich and famous and show off to people that you got new clothes and new shoes. See, when you start to go from self-improvement to keeping up with the Joneses, when you try to out-better someone, when you try to outdo someone, you're asking for trouble. That's how fights break out at the basketball court. That's how fights break out at work, at the nightclub, at the gym. Because when you show off to someone, they think you're arrogant. They think you're better than them. And that don't turn women on. That turn women off. 99.99%, just because I say you need to do self-improvement, that don't mean you buy new clothes and new shoes and you try to impress black women, white women, Latino women. It goes from being a turn on to a turn off. Because now you're not doing it for the right reasons, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. And then someone like your parents or your grandparents or your uncle have to sit you down and give you that 25-minute to 35-minute conversation, the difference between right and wrong. We don't do this when we buy clothes and shoes. Like, there was a comment about a week or 2 weeks ago. I think my next door neighbor had some friends come over. I ain't gonna say any names, but they were watching my YouTube videos like everybody else is. And one of them was whining and complaining about me wearing the same workout shirt and basically had this comment like, he keeps wearing the same effing you know what. And I'm like, mind your business. You know, you got a girlfriend, you got a job, you make some money, mind your business. Stop focusing all your time and energy on what I'm doing. And you see what self-improvement does is it shows you who's your real friends and who's fake and phony. Self-improvement show you who you can trust and who you can't trust. Self-improvement will show you that when you become the best version of yourself, not everybody is your 100% supporter. You got those that support you. You got some that are not going to support you. You got some that's going to want to see you succeed and prosper. Then, unfortunately, you got some player haters that are going to player hate on you because they don't want to see you prosper and succeed in any category. It's the same thing with clothes. You start buying too many designer clothes from True Religions, Old Navy, Gap, H&M, Route 21, Target, JCPenney's. You start going to all the designer fashion stores, and all you're going to get is people jealous and resentful because they think you're better than them. Then they're going to start to think you're rich and famous. They're going to think you got money like that. And you have to be realistic, because in the real world and in reality, we're not rich and famous. So you can't always go to the store and actually think that just because you got some new clothes and some new shoes, that's going to fix the problem. That only fixes one problem. But by the end of the day, you still got your cell phone bill, you got your water bill, you got gas, you got electricity, you got your cable bill, you got to get the grass cut, you got to wash your clothes, you got to pay your bills. You got to do tax returns, you got to save money, you got to go to work, you got to buy food and water. You have other responsibilities. You have other obligations. And when you focus all your time and energy on buying clothes, it's no longer self-improvement. It goes from self-improvement to keeping up with the Joneses. It goes from you trying to self-improve to I want to show everybody that I got new clothes, new shoes. Then you make yourself into a potential target, and this is how a lot of guys get their house and an apartment broken into. Like 99.99%, that's how people break into your house and your apartment, because you keep bragging about, I got new clothes. Oh, I got the new Michael Jordans. I got the new Kobe's, the new LeBrons. That's how you become a target. Then you go into the locker room at 24-hour fitness, right? You ever go to a 24-hour fitness? 9 months later, somebody pay attention to you putting stuff into your locker, and then they break into your locker and steal your Michael Jordans, your Kobe's, or your LeBrons, because why? You show off too much. You talk too much trash, right? So you got to be careful when you self-improve and you start buying some new clothes and some new shoes. To me, it don't matter if it's True Religions, Old Navy, H&M, The Gap, JCPenney's. I don't care if it's Target. I don't care if it's Walmart. I don't care if it's the Salvation Army clothes. When you start buying new clothes and new shoes, it's supposed to self-improve your situation. Not try to become rich and famous because someone's talking bad about you. And this ain't just when you're in high school and college. This goes when you're at the nightclubs, the bars, the gym, the restaurant. The purpose of self-improvement is for you to focus on where you messed up at. Take the areas where you're weak at, so you can become strong in those areas. When you start going from self-improvement to keeping up with the Joneses, that's when you're going to get a lot of older men that are in their late 40s, mid-50s, early 60s, looking at you like, why are you trying so hard to get everybody to like you and respect you? It's either they respect you or they don't respect you. It's either they like you or they don't like you. Self-improvement is so you can understand that when you take a woman out to lunch and dinner, a woman don't want to see you wear the same clothes and the same shoes all the time, because it's not a turn on, it's a turn off. At that point, you can't blame the woman, you have to blame the person that you take a look in the mirror. Take me for an example. I got 14 years of experience. I've experienced a lot of stuff that people have not yet experienced. And the reason why I made this YouTube video is to explain to you men what you might find yourself in. And this don't matter if you're a black guy, a white guy, a Latino guy, or an Asian, or an Indian, or a Samoan guy. It's better to self-improve than to try to keep up with the Joneses. I'm going to tell you why. See, self-improvement is about you focusing yourself. It's about focus. That's what self-improvement is. It's focus. Focus is self-improvement. Self-improvement is focus. When you try to outshine someone, when you try to one-up someone, because somebody got some new Michael Jordans, some new Kobe, some new LeBrons, and you go to the store and you buy some new tennis shoes, you're now making yourself into a target, because you're now doing something that's going to bring unwanted attention. There's good attention and there's bad attention when you do self-improvement. You want more good attention in self-improvement than bad attention. And when you get more bad attention than good attention, that's when you make yourself into a target. That's when people break into your house, your apartment. That's when you become a target. And then people start pointing at you because they see you bringing unwanted attention. You bring a negative element. And what I mean by a negative element, it ain't just the police pop up. See, when you start doing too much, that's when the police show up. That's when the FBI show up, when you start doing too much. And if the police think you're doing something that's not good, they going to bring it to your invited attention because they don't know if what you're doing is 100% legitimate or not legitimate. You get gang members who start paying attention to you when you go from self-improvement to keeping up with the Joneses. Now, you see how I gave you some prime examples, right? When you start bringing up unwanted attention, you can't blame your mom, you can't blame your dad, you can't blame your uncle. You have to take a look in the mirror and blame yourself because it's your fault that you got all this bad negative attention. So if somebody is looking at you because you got some new clothes and some new shoes and you feel very uncomfortable and you get these strong, powerful vibes in a negative way and you feel negative energy, it's because you're either saying something or doing something to bring unwanted negative attention. You know, you ask any former gang member what happens when you bring unwanted attention. Most of the time they're going to tell you it's because you said and done something that's rude and disrespectful to a group of individuals. And you never apologize. You never ask, what did I say wrong? What did I did wrong? And then there are times where you don't say nothing wrong and you don't do nothing wrong. And usually there's an old saying for it. It's called the wrong place at the wrong time. The reason why I'm telling you this is because you're talking to somebody who got into a lot of fights in junior high and high school. And it was because I was into video games, comic books, and anime. And I used to see a lot of the popular kids tell me, you don't want to be popular in high school and college. You don't want to be popular, period, because when you become popular, you get into a lot of fights. People want to, kick your ass because you got some new Jordans, you got some new Kobe's, you got some new LeBrons, you got a new shirt, a new pair of pants. You get all the female attention. And I ain't getting no female attention when I buy new clothes and new shoes. And then they take their anger out on you because they copied you, they imitated you, and you never told them why you were self-improving. That's the thing. That's the difference between self-improvement and keeping up with the Joneses. The reason why I brought up clothes is because if you look in the African-American community, most of us black men, we don't build each other's confidence up. We tear each other's confidence and motivation down. We see somebody get some new clothes and some new shoes, we're jealous, we're insecure. Somebody gets a new house or a new apartment, instead of being happy for the person, we're angry that that person got a house or an apartment. That person gets some new clothes or some new shoes, instead of being happy for the person, we're jealous and envious of the person. And then people be like, why you jealous? Why you insecure? And then you see you have to be careful because when you show off you have something new, you're making yourself out to be a target. So you can't blame nobody else when you make yourself into a target. It's different if somebody saw you in the area one too many times and saw an opportunity. That's different. But when you take it upon yourself to go into an area that you know you're not supposed to be there in the first place, and you get warnings. You don't just gonna get jacked up. You get warnings. You get warnings from the police. Don't come in this area. You get told by your parents, stop coming in this area. And if you ignore the police and you ignore your parents and you keep on doing something, then you're bringing that unwanted attention that you don't like, that make you feel uneasy, that make you feel uncomfortable. You're bringing it upon yourself because you're not looking at your surroundings. There are people who work 10, 15, 20, 30 hours at work, and they don't get the luxury to go to Old Navy, Target, The Gap, H&M, JCPenney's. They don't get the luxury to buy True Religions. They don't get the luxury to buy Michael Jordan tennis shoes, Kobe's, LeBron's, or if it's a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox 362. They don't get the luxury to buy those materialistic items. So when you can afford them and you show off, just keep in mind there are people who work 10, 15, 20, 30, 35 hours that have 2 jobs or 3 jobs. They have bills they have to pay. They have to get food and water to survive. And you coming in showing off, that's rude and disrespectful. Like, I have new clothes, but if I'm not going nowhere like 24-Hour Fitness, Planet Fitness, I don't wear my new clothes. If I'm not taking a woman out to lunch and dinner, I'm not wearing my new clothes. So part 1 is usually the most boring educational video, but it has the most information. This is just part 1 in my series. Part 2, we're going to talk about what happens when you try to turn self-improvement into keeping up with the Joneses, but you use it to try to get women's attention, and when it backfires and blows up in your face. Because that's another part of the problem that we have as men. And it don't matter if you're a black man, a white man, a Latino man, or an Asian man. A lot of us put too much emphasis, too much energy into clothes and shoes and try to get women to notice us, and we don't realize that turns a woman off. It don't turn a woman on, it turns her off, because a woman might say, I want you to get a brand new shirt or a new pair of pants, but then we misinterpret it by buying 5 pairs of shirts and 5 pairs of pants, and then wonder why she ain't into us no more. And I'm going to explain what we're doing to ourselves versus somebody do something to you. So this was supposed just to be a short video. Until then, peace.